Welcome back, everybody, to 31 1990s horror movies for Halloween, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from the 1990s. We've made it to the top two, and these next two are going to be all-time classics. They're not going to really be surprises. Everybody's going to see them and say, yep, it makes sense that those are on the list. And, yeah, let's get to it. At number 2, we have the all-time classic, Candyman.
Candyman. She turned out the lights. And what he saw turned his hair white from shock.
Candyman is a modern-day Gothic horror movie. It's a Gothic horror movie put in this urban setting of Chicago, Cabrini Green in Chicago. I am a big fan of cities as a setting in my horror movies. I think they work so well as a horror movie setting because it shows how close to civilization horror really is. Everything about this movie screams Gothic horror. The presentation of Candyman, he looks like he looks like a classic horror villain. The music in the background is what you would hear in a classic Gothic horror movie. They managed to film this city as you would a castle in a Gothic horror movie, just in this urban ghetto setting.
Damn it.
So, yes, the premise is, as many of you know, because so many people love Candyman, Helen Lyle is a grad student who is doing a thesis on urban legends, and she hears about Candyman, who wanders around Cabrini Green. He's a guy he's a spirit whose hand has been sawn off, and he jams a hook in the bloody stump. And if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he'll appear and kill you. Well, so she learns that this area of Cabrini Green is really afraid of Candyman, and it's like Candyman is just this shadow over Cabrini Green. So she does research on it, and she doesn't believe in Candyman, and due to her skepticism, she calls to Candyman.
Candyman, 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 Candyman. Candyman. Oh, you chicken!
And of course, eventually Candyman shows up. But what's scary is Candyman wants to kill her, but not right away. He wants to have her become a part of his legend. Because she's skeptical, and because she's a skeptic, he needs to make an example of her and bring her into his world.
Be my victim. Be my victim.
There's a few other things that are revealed, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But anyway, yeah, one of the things I love about Candyman is the fact that he isn't going to kill Helen right away. What he does is he commits these murders and makes it look like Helen is the one who committed these murders. So he's turning the whole world against her until she eventually wants to die. I say this all the time. For me, the scariest horror movie characters are Candyman and John Ryder from The Hitcher. They're very different, but they're similar in their goal. They are turning the world against the protagonist and making it so the protagonist eventually wants to die, which for me is so much scarier than just killing a person.
They will all abandon you.
Michael Myers will kill you, Jason Voorhees will kill you, but Candyman and John Ryder will turn the whole world against you. Of course, Tony Todd plays Candyman, and he does such a great job in the role. He looks like this very regal character. I love the design, this elegant flowing fur coat, and then you just have this bloody hand with the hook sticking out, or this bloody stump with the hook sticking out. Such a good design, such a simple design, and of course you have that booming voice.
Helen.
Yes?
Helen.
the voice is so otherworldly that it can't help but give you chills. You know, when you listen to Candyman, when you watch Candyman with the right sound system, the voice sounds like it's coming from all around you. From what I've heard looking into it, the way they were able to get this this sound is they had Tony Todd whisper into the microphone, and then they amplified that, which gave his voice this otherworldly quality.
Believe in me. Be my victim.
And of course, Candyman has some really good off-screen kills, just like in 7. There are some on-screen kills as well, but the majority of the kills are off-screen, and I think they're made all the more effective because of it. Candyman uses sound so well, with his voice, of course, and then the sound of him killing somebody. And of course, Helen Lyle is a fantastic final girl. You know, she's targeted by Candyman, and we see her descend. We see how it affects her sanity, and we see everybody turning against her. And something that happens early on in the movie is Candyman kidnaps a baby and essentially says to Helen, if you don't let me kill you and become part of my legend, I'm killing this baby. And Helen is willing to give her life up for the baby. I'm not going to get into the ending of this movie for those who have not seen Candyman. I'm sure, again, I know I have a lot of Candyman fans out there, but for the few people who have not seen Candyman, I'm not spoiling anything here. But the ending is great. I won't spoil it here, but it is great. It's a very appropriate ending. It's a very Gothic horror-esque ending. There are many great kills, and the atmosphere, I think the atmosphere in Candyman is one of the best things about it. It just gives you that good, creepy atmosphere.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Candyman scared the shit out of me when I watched it as a kid. I remember watching it one night. The scene with the boy in the bathroom, that hit me really hard. A lot of scenes hit me really hard in this. This was a movie that legitimately creeped me out, and I had a hard time sleeping that night after watching Candyman. That's why Candyman is one of my favorite horror movies, because it scared me so much when I first watched it. Candyman, it deserves to be one of the most iconic horror movies of the 90s. Candyman is one of my favorite horror icons. I'm gonna say this, I like him more than the big three. I like him more than Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees. He is creepy as hell, charismatic, one of the best horror icons out there. I implore you, all of you, fellow Candyman fans, show some love for him in the comments section, and of course, show some love for him this Halloween, because Candyman is a movie that deserves all the praise it gets. I cannot say it enough how much I love Candyman. And so, tomorrow we get to the number one choice, which is going to be a little anticlimactic because it's probably a very predictable choice. But I can't help it, it's my favorite horror movie, so join me tomorrow when we talk about my number one favorite horror movie from the 1990s.
Oh!